Bad Eggs is the worst rated episode of Season 2. In fact, according to Internet Movie Database, it's actually one of the 3 worst rated episodes in the entire series, beaten only by the 2 Season 4 episodes, Beer Bad and Where the Wild Things Are, which is pretty funny to me because I kind of like it. It's a candy episode for me, maybe because the episode cribs on one of my personal favorite science fiction stories, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if rather inelegantly. In the story, pods fall from outer space and have the ability to replicate human beings, stealing their memories and destroying them in the process. The aliens become perfect copies of humans, but devoid of any emotion, any passion. There's an interesting little bit thrown in at the beginning of Bad Eggs. Buffy is riding an escalator and has a spidey sense moment where, for no obvious external reason, she seems to realize there's a vampire near her. It's the first reference I remember seeing the show make to her having any kind of innate ability to spot vampires in hiding. When she was standing on the balcony in Welcome to the Hellmouth, she used a logical deconstruction of a guy's outfit to pick a vamp out of a crowd. Buffy saves the girl but loses the vampire. Cordelia and Xander are still going at things pretty strongly, regretting every step of the experience.
That's just dandy. We're repulsed by each other. We hide from our friends.
Well, I should hope so, please.
Typically, relationships on the show are intended to reveal some sort of deeper meaning or intrinsic message. It's possible that Cordelia and Xander are being driven purely by hormones. Then again, if, as I've suggested, each of the characters are in some way significant of aspects of Buffy herself, then maybe there is a more interesting metaphorical reason for their relationship. We've covered the fact that Cordelia is intended to be a representation of Buffy's path not taken or shadow self. When Buffy does as Cordelia does, bad things happen. Take, for instance, her Cordelia-like behavior in When She Was Bad, putting her friends in jeopardy.
You're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
As defending champion, you're nervous?
Or going to a college party with Cordelia and Reptile Boy and ending up in the sex dungeon of a frat house chained to a wall facing off against a giant reptile penis monster. Cordelia represents Buffy without the Slayer power, but in the metaphorical language of the show, the Slayer power is adulthood, responsibility, selflessness. Xander is Buffy's strength or heart. So connecting these two then, might we read Buffy's heart tangling with her shadow self as a premonition of something bad about to happen? The classroom session is a little more thematically self-evident, sex and consequences. The sex ed teacher hands out a bunch of eggs that the students are supposed to keep alive, thus teaching them about the heavy responsibility that comes from sex. I love that here we have the teacher using the metaphor of the fragile egg to stand for a baby in an episode that is hammering the overall metaphor of the season.
Metaphorception.
Consider the implications, too, about Buffy being absent from a class about the ramifications of sex. The eggs turn out to be weird alien thingies that drain everyone's energy while they're asleep. The only Scooby whose energy levels haven't been affected is Xander, who happens to have boiled his. Buffy finds enough energy for Angel Time, though, who mentions he's unable to have kids. Being turned to vampire is automatically sterilizing. Buffy shrugs it off and Angel seems surprised.
So you don't think about the future?
No.
You can see the ramifications of their relationship are weighing on him a bit as well. They kiss and the camera passes very deliberately over a tombstone, another portent. In the basement of the school, a hole has opened up in the wall and something wicked seems to be happening.
From beneath you.
Wait. Nope, that's later on. Buffy comes home and her egg hatches a little rubber mind control drone bug. Which she dispatches. Turns out Willow was already under the spell. Xander can't stand his breakfast bar.
Please leave my home now.
And goes to eat his kid, which leads to one of my favorite lines of the season.
Can I just say, yeah?
I see her yeah, and raise you a yeah.
Cordy's egg hatches and takes her over, and she and Willow lock Xander and Buffy up in the closet with 2 unhatched eggs. Turns out most people are being controlled, and the drones are trying to dig up a giant, wet, egg-producing vagina monster out of the school's basement. Buffy goes to stop them, and the hillbilly vampire morons attack her. One of them gets tossed into the demon mouth. Buffy gets pulled in after him and does Buffy things, allowing everyone to return to normal. Joyce confines Buffy to quarters, and we end on...
Besides, I'm not breaking any rules.
In a show that has to this point borrowed so heavily from other material, the fact that this one feels a little derivative is really saying something. Plus, there's no denying how clunky the writing is. The opening in the mall feels very out of place, and the 2 Monster of the Week hillbilly vampires are totally superfluous, even if I find them stupidly entertaining. I never really know why they're in a scene. Their dumb antics certainly don't add any tension like a scheming Spike or Master rubbing their hands together in the shadows. Given they only interact with Buffy twice, once in the beginning and the end, they don't MacGuffin our main characters into any useful situations like the Order or the Three. It's hard to ever even see them as bad guys given we never confuse them as the ones pulling the egg plan. It would have made so much more sense to just embrace the Body Snatchers plot completely. The most affecting scene in the episode is when we don't know Giles has turned and he puts a drone bug on Joyce. Rather than immediately showing us Willow is controlled, they could have built the same tension throughout the episode, never letting us know for certain who has changed and who hasn't. You could have had the kids suspect Snyder the whole time, only to find out he was never infected but is just an ass. Or they could have milked the don't fall asleep aspect of the story, which would have built even more tension. But a Candy episode is not a rational thing, my friends. It doesn't win you over with logic. I love Buffy's conquering hero shot as she climbs from the Sarlacc pit and scares the pants off the remaining vampire. As pointless as they are, I find the vampire brothers amusing, which is maybe their point. As usual, Xander gets his fair share of great lines. The fact that he managed to save himself from the initial bug infection by cheating is absolutely perfect. And of course, Buffy managing to not break the rules while making out with Angel is absolutely adorable. And once again, I just love the dread inherent to the Body Snatchers story. It's been done to death and often better than it has here, but never with characters I adored this much. Bad Eggs is not a great episode, but it doesn't deserve a place at the Buffy bottom 5. Still, I won't say I'm not more excited to get to what the episode is foreshadowing.
Yeah, yeah.